Welcome to Backyard Bows. Hey, welcome to Backyard Bows. Today we're going to go over the Trophy Ridge React technology. So we have the React Pro and we have the React Trio Pro. Very different, but also very similar. So you'll see in my videos, I use this React 5-pin React Pro almost every week, just because it's so simple to get from one bow to the next bow and dialed in and extremely accurate. So no matter what your setup is, no matter what your arrow weight specs are, the React Pro, by 2 adjustments, sighting in just 2 pins, your 20 and your 30, it will allow you to also have already sighted in your 40, 50, and 60. So in our backyard, if you watch our reviews, most of our shots go anywhere between 20 and 50 yards. So for me, it's so easy. I attach it to a new bow, sight in my 20. I usually do that here in the garage. I'll open up the garage door, sight the 20 in, and then I do the 30 in the backyard. And with that little adjustment, my 40 and 50 are already set in, and we're off to the next review. I absolutely love this. If you are somebody that is starting out, I think this is a fantastic sight to put on your bow, to be able to sight it in yourself. I love that it kind of does it all for you. It's really easy to get those 20 and 30 pins sighted in at the beginning, where 40 and 50 yards, until you're real comfortable with your bow, those seems harder to get dialed in if you're new to hunting. So I think this is a great option. Now, if you're somebody who does a lot of whitetail hunting and wants that 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 yards pin set, but you also go out west and are shooting 60, 70, 80 yards for hunting or even for fun. I think when I first started to get into shooting a little bit further ranges, I still wanted my setup to be primarily for hunting whitetail and turkey, which I'm taking most of my shots at 20, 30, 40 yards. So you have your 3 pins that are set, but then you also have the ability to unlock and have a slide just like an adjustable sight. So it's like it's best of both worlds. You get your 3 pins that are set, but you also, if needed to, eventually you'll probably feel comfortable taking maybe a 50, 55, 60 yard shot at a whitetail. And it would be nice to be able to have that option on your sight instead of letting something pass. And the other good thing about that is usually if whatever you're hunting is that distance away, you do have the ability to make those adjustments. Where in the whitetail hunting world, you'll know that if a deer is 20, 30 yards from you, 40 yards from you, you don't have the ability to necessarily range and make adjustments. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot if you do so. So having those fixed pins is nice, but then also having the ability to adjust is also nice. So the React Pro, super easy. You set your top pin at 20, you unlock, and you can make a couple turns on this. You'll see when you turn that all 5 pins will move. So set your 20, make your adjustment to set your 30, and again, your 40, 50, and 60 are already set. You lock it back down and you're good to go. I love this sight. Both of them are extremely durable, extremely well made. I think the only downside maybe to the Trio Pro is it's probably a little bit on the heavier side if that's going to affect your, the weight that you like to hold, but both sights are fantastic. This, we will walk you through the full setup so that you can get this thing set up and dialed in, a couple easy steps, and you're ready to go. Okay, so if you get the Trio Pro, it's really, really simple to sight in, but we'll walk you through the steps. So the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is unlock your slide, and you're gonna wanna make sure that that slide is maxed out all the way to the top. Okay, you want it to not be able to go any further. You can go ahead and lock that back out. If this metal point is not directly perfectly lined up with that top indicator, you want to unloosen those bolts, and you can adjust it minorly top and bottom, and you want that to line up perfectly. So that's the first thing you want to do. Now what we're going to do is, if you look inside your sight housing, you got 3 pins. You got 2 adjustable on top, and you got 1 fixed. That's a vertical pin on the bottom. I much rather use this sight over the other one for just that reason. You only have 3 pins, so your sight housing is pretty clear. You don't have a whole bunch of extra pins in there. You just have those 3. Most of the shots I'm taking are between 20 and 40 yards anyway. I love the vertical pin. That kind of adds a little bit of dynamic of a different clearer picture with that pin coming up from the bottom But I love these pins and the way they're set up. So you have the bottom one, which is fixed, these two that are adjustable. We're gonna set the bottom one at 40 yards. Take your time when you're doing this. Everything else is going to react off of that bottom pin that you set at 40. So start close to the bag. I would suggest slowly working your way back until you get out to 40. Once you feel like that one is perfect, and the way you're gonna do this is if you unlock the top, you can then adjust horizontally, and then you can adjust vertically with micro adjustments, and you want to get that 40 pin dialed in perfect. Go ahead and lock that one back out. So now we're going to sight in at 50, okay? Let's leave the 2 pins right where they are for now. We will do those last. So now we're going to go back, we're going to unlock, and we're going to slide, and we're going to make little slides down until we get to 50, and once we feel good about 50, we're going to go ahead and lock that back out. So now is where we're going to set everything. So now the React technology comes into play. We are going to, this screw right here on top, which you can adjust right and left, it's going to make all those pins go either up or down. And what we're going to do is we're going to adjust it. We're going to go down until that second pin lines up perfectly on that metal piece that we set when we arranged in our 50. Okay, and did you see how every other pin moved when we did that? Now that our first pin, and this is for the bottom pin, remember, so our bottom pin, if it's all the way at the top, is at 40. If we put it on the second one, that bottom pin is now at 50, okay? But by doing this, we also set a 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100 yards. It's that simple. I love it because if you're beginning out, it's harder and harder as you're starting to be able to sight in pins that are that far away. And you might want to shoot out to that range right from the beginning. I think that's some of the most fun. So this just helps you get those dialed in. And this will also react to your arrow weight, your bow specs. It'll take all that into consideration. Unless, you know, if you're in that average arrow weight, if you get way too heavy or you get too light, it might not react perfectly. But if you're right in there between 400 grains and 500 grains or a little above or below, this will react perfectly to whatever arrow weight you decide to go with. So now you can lock that back out. Now we're gonna go up here, we're gonna loosen these 2 screws on the side, and we can adjust the top pin, which will be at 20, and we can adjust that middle pin, which will be at 30, and we can go back and sight ourselves in at 20, 30. So if we move ourselves all the way to that top, we're now at 20, 30, 40. And then if we adjust, we can go all the way down to whatever we want, out to 100 yards, and that bottom pin will be set at 100 yards. It's simple, it's durable, it's easy. You can do it yourself. You don't have to be an experienced bow hunter to set yourself up at 100 yards. I love these things. The React technology is one of the coolest things on the market. And now that you're sighted in, they have stickers that you can put on next to the indicators so that you can identify the different ranges. There's stickers that go on the front, and there's some that can go on this side as well. And I like that because if your bow's face down, you're stalking, crawling, you don't have the ability to flip your bow over, you can range and set your sight without having to turn your bow. So you have those numbers on both sides. I love that. I think that's one of the best. You can put your pin at each one of these and then put a sticker on the back as well. I think that's some awesome feature as well. But I think these sights are some of the best for beginners or experienced, anybody in between. They're extremely durable, they're well priced. If you're interested, go to the links below, get yourself one. We stand by the React technology. I have used these in the field. I have used them almost for every review. I think they're some of the best sights on the market. If you have questions in your sight setting up process, leave them in the comments. We'll answer, we'll help out where we can.